If you want to shoot upskirt footage, move to Georgia because a recent ruling said that it's not illegal for various reasons, most of which revolve around the fact that when the law was written, they had no idea that upskirting would be so easy. What is upskirting? Well, it's walking around and clandestinely filming up women's skirts with smartphones or GoPros, and they will be none the wiser. And now we have a ruling, according to judges who weighed in on a recent decision. Upskirting does not hold up to the rubric that constitutes an invasion of privacy due to the fact that the act isn't technically criminalized in the state. It's amazing. I think this is absolutely amazing. The precedent involves a decision in 2013 in a Houston County Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Publix is one of the best supermarkets ever, but a grocery clerk. It is. Anyone who's been there is like, yes, it is. It's fantastic.
Wawas are better, but okay.
No, someone filmed up the skirts, and they apparently said that, you know, if you look at the law, this is not the kind of invasion of privacy according to the laws that were written before smartphones were so widely used and had such great video capabilities. Quote Elizabeth Branch, who authored the opinion at the time, "It is regrettable that no law currently exists which criminalizes Gary's reprehensible conduct." And then that's pretty much it. And then they recommend that if you want to change these laws, the hands of the court system are tied. They recommend that next year, when the lawmakers all go back to do their jobs, that they start rewriting the laws and make it explicit that this is unacceptable.
Yeah, they can't even introduce measures to begin criminalizing upskirting and similar sort of acts of misconduct like this until next year.
Yeah,
they can't
6
even
more months of
begin...
upskirting for Georgians.
Get it in. Get it in while you can.
No, I mean, this is a huge invasion of privacy for, you know, and we hear about these stories in the article as well about women who've experienced this before, and it just sucks that people can get away with it. It's not okay. It's incredibly creepy, and it's a form of sexual harassment. I mean,
I am really surprised.
We're on board that it's gross, right? It's not get it in, guys. It's bad. It's a bad thing to do.
Yes,
do not do this.
I know, but the reason why I don't understand how there's nothing in the legal language that they could use to, you know, register this person as a sex offender or register this act as a criminally inappropriate behavior is like if there was a new method to, let's say, kill people, for example, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we didn't account for this. Like, obviously, they're not going to let that slide. So what I don't understand is because the act of murder is still illegal, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing as like the act of like snapping a photo of someone's genitals is, I feel like, illegal. It's not.
Right, and I think...
I mean, it typically goes back to a reasonable expectation of privacy.
In a supermarket.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're wandering around the supermarket, you should have the expectation that your genitals are not going to be photographed. But let's just call this out for what it is, and I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for this in the comments, but yeah, this is a thing that happens to women. There aren't a lot of men in Georgia wandering around in kilts, okay? So if there were, then we could say that upskirting was a gender-neutral issue, but it really is an issue...
In Scotland,
upkilting is a thing.
Okay, but in Georgia, it is upskirting, and it is happening to women, and I would be very interested to look at what women are serving on, you know, in the court system, and if there was, the ratios were even, what that would look like.
I don't know
it's
about
different,
that.
but it's not.
But think about it, dude. It's like it's a bunch of like guys that are being faced with like upskirting. What are you gonna do about it? Like, well, next year.
It's not. The thing is, the decision. That is not a court problem. The court is like, listen, we think this is disgusting.
Yeah.
But our job is to read the law and apply the law, and not based on what the upper courts might say.
And
if this
I
goes
agree
higher
with you.
and higher.
I totally agree with you because it is their job to read the law and obey the law, and that is very true. And they should introduce the law at the beginning of next year. Absolutely. What I will be disappointed with is that if it becomes time next year, and then this is not a priority.
Yeah,
it won't
be.
It won't be. That's the thing. It won't be a
guys,
priority because this doesn't affect.
No, because there are post offices that need to be named. Yes, okay?
Like that's
this is important. That's what's really important.
But that's why it's frustrating. It's because like everything is going to come before decriminalizing upskirting. It's going to be like a
I know, because instead they need to name post offices.
Well,
and that's
it's
the kind
very
of
important.
Things. Those are the only
it's
laws.
Very important.
I guarantee you that like law minutia is going to come in before the laws against upskirting. I agree with you.
Probably. But
Yeah.
I mean,
This post
we're all
office.
in agreement that this is ridiculous, and that obviously a law will be passed in Georgia that protects women from being upskirted. I mean, like I said though, I don't know if this was like if it was disproportionately affecting women, or if it was also
You think that the
affecting
same
men.
number of
I don't
men
know
were
if it
also
would.
getting upskirted?
There
No,
should be-
I know that it's disproportionately affecting women. I'm saying I don't think that has anything to do with a law not being put forward up to this point. I think if they were just like, we just didn't think about it. We just didn't think this
But
through.
This dynamic has, implications far outside upskirting. This is like the central premise that when do laws change to reflect changes in technology? Like this was at the heart of like the NSA wiretapping program, privacy, and that went up to very high courts, and there were judges who were like, listen, this is something we need to. It was Smith, I wrote it down. Smith versus Maryland in 1979 was put forth a precedent that said that it's not a breach of privacy if your information is shared to a third party from someone you gave it to. And then a lot of the decision, the people who wrote the dissenting opinion said, listen, I think we need to revisit this. There's got to become a point where the court needs to be able to say, in our opinion, not kicking it over to the legislative branch of any state, local, or federal entity, and say, listen, it is our judgment that this is wrong. And there's got to also be some kind of liberty that everyone along the way.
Do you really think that giving the judiciary that level of power, though, like basically what you're saying is giving lower courts in the United States like the same level of power almost as like a Supreme Court justice?
I think that
kind of.
Yeah, kind of. But
not as
extreme, making judgments. They're always the central premise of that judgment would be that precedent doesn't apply here. That's what it would be. It'd be like that precedent doesn't apply because we feel like the dynamic is different. Like what is happening, the facts of the case are that in our interpretation, rather than the original law saying that you can't invade someone's privacy in a bathroom doesn't apply to in aisle 7 of a Publix. It's like
that's what
you're still covering your genitals.
And I think that we're seeing a lot of lower courts having to deal with situations like this in the cases of revenge porn. Revenge porn. We're talking about upskirting. Technology has fueled wonderful new ways to sexually harass people, and I think
wonderful.
I know,
fantastic,
just awesome new creative ways that you can be a huge douchebag to people. And I think that we're seeing the courts having to adjust to all this new shit that people come out with. And yeah, we absolutely need to follow what the protocol is for passing a law. I completely agree with that. I just hope that the emphasis is on passing these laws and creating these precedents so that this guy Gary, which is like he would
Gary?
be, he
is
would
that
be
the funniest?
Fucking Gary.
Oh, Gary, you piece of shit.
Oh my gosh. Are you saying Gary is the creepiest name?
I don't know, it just works
No.
I want to say that Grace is just like
Gary's
collecting the worst
reprehensible
comments
conduct.
today.
I know you're just saying things that
I don't know.
like,
I just hope that I just hope that when it comes time where they can pass these laws, that even if there are not a lot of women represented in those rooms, that it is still equally as important for the men to be like, yeah, I want to protect my daughter because she's really hot and she goes to Publix and I don't want her to get I don't want her to get snapped up her upper junk.
So speaking of which, if Gary had taken that photo and then put it online, this victim would have to then go as far as to send a photo of her same genitals with her face
to
prove that this is me, this is my intellectual property, like this photo.
Physical.
No, but like, you do know what I mean? Like this is my creative property. This is me. This is taken against my consent.
Yeah.
I need this back. I need this to be removed. That process takes a very long time, and it's a little outrageous at the moment. Speaking about the revenge porn laws that are currently in place in our country.
Would tattoo your identification on your genitals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, like, when you get the video, it'd be like, that's my name, that's my social security number.
But then they would be like, well, we have to see your genitals to make sure that they match.
I would. Or don't wear pants. So, like, if you're an upskirt person and you get off on, like, clandestinely filming people's junk,
Clandestine's a great word, by the
Love
way.
it.
Thank you for using it twice.
I
in the
know.
story.
I love that
Terrible.
word.
This
I
is
learned it
this
like
is
2
in
weeks
general
ago.
a terrible Debbie Downer of a story, but hopefully it gets fixed.
Yeah, so now we know. Don't go to Publix.